Joining me today, I have Simon Ridgway from the Gold Group and also one of the founders of Fortuna. Simon, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for the invite. Pleasure to be here.
So it's the first time we've chatted before. Now, I know that you're more grassroots exploration and you've had various discoveries and a whole bunch of success, which we could get into. But first, I got to ask you, how closely do you follow the macro environment when it comes to precious metals, or are you mostly focused on?
I'm focused on discovery. Yeah. I mean, really, if you make a discovery that's economic, the gold price shifts around it, so you can't really base your exploration on that. So I'm driven by grassroots exploration, and that's what I love. And it's a case of finding a deposit that's going to work in the gold price stand that you're in.
So when you're thinking about an exploration project, and so that's grassroots, what is it that you're looking for that gets you excited?
Big systems in areas that have not been explored before. So I used to say early on in my career, I'm not very good at what I got to do, so I'll go where people aren't working there. Makes it easier, low-hanging fruit. But I think that low-hanging fruit pretty much worldwide is gone now. So, presently my favorite play at the moment I'm involved in is up in the Yukon territory, actually, where I started my career. I'm looking for these reduced intrusive related gold systems. Snowline Gold is 2 years ago made a discovery up there that is 2 years later is at 7.5 million ounces. Those are the kind of systems that I like to look for.
So when you say systems, a lot of our audience is sort of a retail investing audience that is possibly new to mining. What do you mean when you're saying when you're looking for big systems?
Well, it's a type of geological setting that's going to supply the multi-million ounce system as opposed to an epithermal vein in the volcanic rocks. These systems that are up in the Yukon, there's a tombstone gold belt that goes from Alaska all the way across the Yukon territory that's got these intrusive hosted gold systems that are very simple metallurgy, usually open pittable, usually very large. And then, on the western side of the Yukon territory, they've been established for quite a few years. On the eastern side, these intrusives were known to host tungsten and tin deposits. But 2 years ago, Snowline Gold made a discovery on the eastern side of the Yukon, which opened up that whole area to gold exploration in these intrusives.
So what are you seeing right now in that area? Is there just a huge rush to stake?
No, nobody really followed Snowline's discovery up, and that's what allowed me to get in and acquire a large land position in those same intrusive rocks in that part of the country. These intrusives that we're walking in and prospecting have hardly been looked at before because the base metal deposits form in the sedimentary rocks around them. And when people were looking for tin or tungsten or lead or zinc, they would reach the intrusive center and just stop looking. Or they would drill and hit the intrusive and stop drilling. So now we know that these gold systems are actually in those intrusive rocks. So we're getting boots on the ground prospecting within those large intrusive bodies with the hope of finding a multi-million ounce gold system by walking in the right valley or up the right creek at the right time.
So you think that there's potential for major discoveries?
Yeah, as Snowline has shown. I mean, 7 million ounces, their stock has gone from 20 cents to $7 or $6.50 right now in 2 years. So that's like a 30 bagger. And they found 7.5 million ounces in 2 years of drilling. It's exceptional, definitely. But my belief is that there is more of those exceptions to be found in the belt we're in.
What other parts of the world do you find exciting that offers any potential similar to the Yukon?
At the moment, Argentina is a good place to go back to. As we've seen in Latin America over the last 20 years, countries come and go in and out of mining fashion depending on the government. A few years ago, Chile and Mexico were great places to explore. Now they're questionable because of the political shift. Bolivia and Ecuador and Argentina 4 years ago were sort of no-go areas, and now they're opened up. And people are going there and making great discoveries. So really, more than the metal price in Latin America especially, you've got to look at the political changes all the time and sort of dodge and weave depending on the government at the time.
Now, our audience, Simon, is mostly retail investors that are kind of looking for ideas. Which names are you involved with that are public?
I've got 3 public companies at the moment in the gold group. Rakla, which I said is up in Yukon territory. Radius Gold, which is exploring in Mexico. We have 3 joint ventures going in Mexico. And Volcanic Gold is active in Guatemala. Now, Guatemala has been a tough country for quite a few years politically, but the geology is fantastic. I've made quite a number of discoveries there historically and been able to sell them. So I'm back there again exploring. But a new government came in January. I'm holding back and waiting to see whether they're going to be pro-mining or anti-mining. They said they've come in saying that we're going to generate employment. Mining is a good way to do that, so we'll wait and see.
So something that I like asking people when we're at a conference like this, and I'm sure you're having conversations with lots of investors, management teams, deal guys, analysts, all that sort of stuff. What's the buzz you're hearing about? What do you think people are excited about right now?
Copper. I mean, right now, copper seems in the presentations and on the floor. There's a lot of pull-free systems have been talked about. Copper's price is rising. People see a much higher copper price in the next few years, given its use in many things, mostly in the electrocution of batteries and that kind of solar panels, etc. And I think that Arizona and other areas of the world with copper deposits are getting a lot of exploration right now.
From an operating standpoint, or I guess we could say from a developer standpoint, what jurisdictions do you like the most in terms of being able to actually move projects forward?
Well, I'm not a developer, I'm an explorationist, so I can't really comment on that. I'd rather just leave that to the professionals that build mines.
But is that not something that goes into the idea of, do we want to invest our time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, but as I said, in these days, with the average time, I think from discovery to a mine being built is 17 years. So I have to make a discovery and sell it in 1 or 2, and let other people deal with that with those issues of development.
Okay, so you guys are drilling out the property in the Yukon right now.
Yep. And we have a joint venture also with Fresnillo in Mexico that is presently being drilled at the moment. So it's a joint venture with Fresnillo. We made a discovery in Mexico, or a rediscovery. This was a mine that was built. There's no records of this mine ever been in production. We have a geologist that is actually a long distance runner, and he was running through a small town, stopped for a drink, and they took him into these huge caverns, bigger than this room, that have been mined historically. We went back to the records. There's no record of this ever being mined. It was high-grade silver mantos, so we acquired the property. We took a good look at the area and decided it was really a project to JV to a major, because you're kind of drilling blind. It's an andesitic, basic volcanic layer that's buried in 100 and 150 meters of other negative rocks above it. So you kind of got to drill blind to find these mantos. So it wasn't a project that we wanted to finance ourselves. So we took it to Fresnillo, who is the world's largest silver mining company, and they love what they saw. So they're presently drilling to find if they can extend those caverns or extend the mineralization that was the cause of those caverns.
From an exploration standpoint, I mean, you've been doing this for decades. How's technology changed the way that you think about exploration? Like, we're brought on a site visit with an explorer in Mexico, and we learned about the XRF gun.
Right.
And
Right.
I thought that was really cool, and that seemed like a game changer.
To some degree, I'm a gold explorationist, and it doesn't really work for gold, but we do use it for the associated minerals. But basically, yes, I'm sure there's a lot of things that have changed in far as exploration, but right now, exactly in the Yukon, getting boots on the ground in the right place is how you make discoveries.
So are you sort of just looking for outcrops?
Yeah, basically. Looking for outcrops in areas that have not been walked before. I'm sure some of the places I've got geos walking right now in the Yukon, I've never seen a boot on the ground historically, because they're inside those boring old intrusive rocks that nobody ever explored in those days.
How many meters are you guys drilling right now in the Yukon?
Well, we've got a program that's planned to be 4,000 meters. It'll be less or much more depending on the first 5 or 6 holes.
And how do you go about identifying drill targets? Is that
Well, basically, like I said, we identify the outcrop. You find through soil or stream geochemistry, you prospect in the right areas, try to identify the controlling structures, and then drill based upon cutting those structures at the right angle, so you can understand the grade and the width of the target you're looking for.
in the Yukon? Are you guys able to just drill during the sort of spring, summer, fall?
Unfortunately, I mean, the season's short, June till September, end of September.
Okay.
So it's a very short season, so you got to get the work done quickly. It's also very expensive exploration in the Yukon, and that's why you need to be looking for those much bigger systems up there.
So you guys are taking helicopters to site?
Yeah. Yeah, we can drive to camp. We've got a camp that's quite remote. It's at the very end of the North Canal. So a 6-hour drive from the nearest town, and the road ends, and that's where we put the camp. But from there, it's a short helicopter ride to the projects we're drilling. and we have an airstrip at Camp 2. So that reduces the cost, but the cost is still very high.
So when would we be looking at drill results of the Yukon?
Probably early August, early to mid-August. So
Okay.
RAK is the symbol.
Yeah.
Trades.
Okay.
Keep your eyes open for it.
And just curious here, are there any other small operators and, or I should say operators, but explorers that are publicly traded that are
in that same area?
In that same area?
Well, Snowline. I mean, they've had that great,
Yeah.
excellent discovery, and they're still drilling. They've got 5 rigs turning right now, and I think that discovery will keep growing.
So there's Snowline, there's you guys. Anybody else you can think of?
Yeah, there's a Banyan Gold has got another 7 million ounce deposit, which is quite a ways to the east of where we are, much more infrastructure where they are. Their deposit is lower grade, but given they've got much more infrastructure, that will work too. I think Banyan's got 7 million ounces at a grade of about 0.7, 0.6, 0.7 grams gold per ton, whereas Snowlines, and what we're looking for is 1 gram plus, 1.5 grams per ton we would need to work given our remote location.
This may seem like a silly question, but at what point do you consider a company to go from exploration to development? Like at what point do you typically hand it off?
Well, for me, it's you make a discovery and you try to ascertain when is the best time to sell it. If there's still lots of upside, you're going to keep drilling. If you think, okay, we've discovered 1 million ounces, maybe it's going to be 1.2, but it's not going to be 5. So now's the time to try to show the economics of it, so somebody will be interested in buying it. Do the basic metallurgy, try to show that what you found is going to be a very profitable mine. So that's a judgment call that you make as you go through your exploration program. It's the same kind of call you make, as I said, the project we're drilling in Mexico with Fresnillo. We make that decision to joint venture that project because it's like, we can't make or break this project without spending a lot of money. So better bring in a major to do that exploration for us.
Simon, I could probably talk to you all day, and you've been generous with your time here. And,
good. Thank you for the invite. And thanks for the questions were intelligent, and I think we got some good answers there to them. So
thank you very much. We learned a lot, and hopefully we can chat again in the future after you guys make a major discovery in the Yukon.
After we get that drill hole in. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the
Simon.
invite. Okay, good.